The job that we have as leaders is we need to connect with the right people and influence them to take meaningful action. Because if we don't, we're not getting the results that we want. We may even burn out. I don't know about you. If you go about it the wrong way, you can, tarnish relationships. But most important, equally important, you keep on pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and you're not getting the results. In extreme cases, you're going to lose your business or your career. So let's do something about it. My name is Andrew Lawless. I am a certified high-performance coach and 2 times best-selling author. Leadership can feel lonely. There's no doubt about it. I have experienced that in my life, in my career a few times. And then there's a reason why they say it's lonely at the top. But at one point, we also need to recognize that no one strives alone and in silence and makes it to the next level, either the next level in their careers, next level with their business, their personal or professional development, their relationships, you name it. It just doesn't work that way. We need other people that support us in our cause, to help us move things forward. At this point, the number one pushback that I'm getting from my clients is they say to me, Andrew, it's easy for you to say, you go out naturally and do all this thing and you go on videos and stage and all the time, right? But I am an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. I'm not good with people. And what I tell them then is that I'm actually an introvert. It takes me a lot of mindset work to go on stage, to go in front of the camera and speak like that. Right? Like when you see me at networking events after the event, after I spoke to 500 or 1,000 people, I'm the guy in the corner with a glass of wine, not knowing what to say and how to approach people, because I'm an introvert, right? By nature. But I also know that it's a choice to be able to influence, and it is a skill. And once you understand that, you can make that decision here now. It's the decision I want you to make right now, that you choose to be more connected and more authentically connected and to be a stronger influencer in your life right now if you're in a leadership position or you want to grow into more leadership responsibility. So nobody's born with the talent to connect and influence. Yes, some people are better than others by nature, but that doesn't seem to make a difference. The example that I give you is Bill Gates. I met him a few decades ago, so I had the honor and pleasure to have a 4-hour one-on-one interview with him for Forbes magazine in Germany at the airport in Frankfurt. And when you talk to Bill, he sits on his chair and he rocks back and forth. And you ask him a question, he rocks, and then gives you an answer. And the answers are usually profound, insightful, meaningful. He said things back then that I still look up to this day or guide my actions to this day because they were so profound. But the delivery is very monotone. Contrast that with Steve Ballmer, who was the CEO after Bill Gates. And Steve is a totally different person, right? He goes on stage like, bam, and he dances and walks the stage back and forth and left and right, and has people jumping and music and all of that. So he connects and influences by motivation. So Bill Gates inspires, Steve Ballmer motivates. So you can find your way, your own way, also how you connect and influence the people around you so that you're supported in the way that you deserve it. And the first thing that I want you to do, the first habit that I want you to embrace is ask for help. We all need help sometimes. We all tend to ask for help too late. So make it a habit to ask early and often. When I work with doctors in emergency hospitals, I just pointed there because there's one not too far away from my house. When I talk to doctors in emergency rooms, the number one complaint or concern that they have, they say, Andrew, I wish they would have come earlier. As a coach, I can tell you that. When clients come, they typically come when it's almost very, very late or too late. And I'm thinking, why didn't you call me earlier? Would have been so much easier and effective and faster to get you the results that you're after. Now we need to do more work, So ask often and ask early. Second, you cannot always ask, right, for things that you want. You also need to give. So make it as much a habit to give. So reach out to the people that are important to you, that you want to influence, and surprise them with something, right? Write them a note, a card. Send them flowers, right? Send them, I don't know, whatever is important, even if it's an article that you've seen, that you send to them. But here is the difference between giving and giving right. It's not so much about the value of the gift than it is about your time. People value the time that it took to surprise them or to make them a favor more than the favor itself. Give an example from my life. I used to support the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia when I lived in Washington, D.C. And that's a hospital that treats children regardless of their parents' ability to pay. And because of that, there are a lot of patients whose parents do not have the means or the time, because they work 3-4 jobs, to drive them from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia for treatment. So I volunteered as a driver and picked up the van at 4 a.m. in the morning, got the van ready, drove to the children's houses and picked them up and their guardians, drove them to the hospital as a 2.5-hour drive, and waited for them until the treatment was done. And sometimes that was just a check-in visit for 10 minutes. Sometimes it took hours, 6, 7, 8 hours for me to wait and then drive back. So it was easily a 16 to 20-hour day that I volunteered. And when you think about it, the value of my labor is cheap, right? So for the amount of money that I made at the time, I could have hired 4 drivers that did it for me. So, but when I talked to people and said, I just donated $5,000, $10,000 to the Shriners Hospital in Philadelphia, they go, good for you. So glad you can afford it. But if I tell them that I actually wake up at 4 a.m. and also drive children at least once a month to the hospital, or when needed, they go, wow, that is so amazing. You do this? Wonderful. Because they value the time that I give to the cause more than the money. And that is my lesson to you. It's like, when you want to give, take time. Don't send it. If you want to appreciate someone, don't surprise them with a text message or email. Write a handwritten note. Put it in an envelope. Put a stamp on it, and walk over to the letterbox yourself. Third, be a promoter of people. Everybody wants to be respected, loved, valued, acknowledged, honored, and only a few people ever do. So be that person. Thank them for their contributions. Honor them for showing up. Respect them for their struggle. Whatever it is, you always find something that you can respect them for, acknowledge them for, thank them for. Make that a habit. Every day, every single interaction that you have, tell them what you honor, respect, value, and acknowledge about them. Make it a point. Make it explicit. Don't make it implicit. Most of us do not get subtle hints, obvious hints. We got to hear it, like in direct words. As a German-born American, that is easier for me than for others. But at the end of the day, just say it, right? So it's also true when you want to promote people. So here are the 3 things I want you to do every day, right now, when you wake up, to make that a habit. When you wake up, before you check email, before you watch television, the news, read the news or whatever, sit down and ask yourself not how you're going to tackle the day, but who you need to connect with. Who can do it for you? Why? Because the most successful people in the world know that learning something, doing it by yourself, gets you forward, but it takes a lot of time. And if you want results faster, you let it be done by experts or by people that you trust and love. And therefore, think not how, but think who. So now you know who you need to reach out to. And then you plan how you're going to reach out to that person well. So how are you going to do it well? And how do you connect authentically when you talk to that person? And the third one is, right outside of that, write down another name of somebody that needs either your help right now or needs to hear from you right now, and surprise them with something. Surprise them with your time. And sometimes that's really just going for a cup of coffee. I mean, like we are in the pandemic right now, lockdown, but maybe it's a virtual coffee. You can do that too, right? And you talk and you're present. You're here. I give you my time. Nothing else is important. I'm not checking email while we're talking. I'm not picking up my phone. I'm not checking my text messages. You are the most important person in my life right now. Sometimes it's that easy. Maybe it's buying a bunch of flowers to your wife, or to somebody in the family, your mother. Yes. Maybe it's doing something that really takes some time, some research that you need to do in order to deliver somebody some information that you know that they need, and it took you an hour, and they know it. That hour is more valuable to them than the extra information that you share with them. So that's your game plan. Share with me what else you do in order to connect authentically and influence the people and rally them behind you, and share that here, like wherever you see this video. It might be here, there, whatever. Share it here with me. I cannot wait to read your experience, what works for you, and your contributions.